Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Homespun Yak. How's it going, Mr. Hatley?
It's going pretty good. A little tired, but otherwise pretty good.
Oh, well, that's okay. Why are you tired? I'm concerned.
Well, I don't know. I just have not been sleeping great lately, so that's the reason. I don't know why. I cannot I cannot pinpoint a reason as to why.
You're just really pissed off about Ted Cruz.
Yeah, I'm upset. I'm upset that he's getting thrown under the bus.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, okay. So you're tired. Um, yeah, I felt that way today. I felt frustrated. Today I'm in a frustrated mood. I'm in a mood that could easily pop off any moment.
Oh,
Yeah,
live on camera.
live on. This is the best place to do it.
Yeah, no one will
Anytime,
see it.
anytime. Yeah, anytime you're gonna make a fool of yourself, it's good to be live on
Yeah.
camera. Just like that school board that got caught. Did you hear about that?
I don't think so.
So there's a school board that was having a meeting about how they could improve the school, obviously, and stuff like that. And some of the school board were talking mad shit about the parents. And obviously, it
Mm.
was over Zoom, and they didn't realize that the whole thing was public. So they were literally like cussing. And just saying
No.
like I'm gonna fuck you up and like making jokes and stuff, but doing all that kind of stuff
About the parents.
about the parents, yeah.
Oh my God.
And yeah, well, the even the mayor of that town told them that they should resign. So yeah, they ultimately ended up resigning.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Gotta love Zoom mishaps.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
Like,
I get so paranoid about. I don't know about you, but like I get super paranoid. I'm like I make sure I'm on mute about 20 times throughout the
yeah.
entire time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of calls, usually Mondays and Fridays mornings, and I'm almost never on unmute. It's
Hmm.
just, I'm just gonna be on mute. If you want me to say something, let me know.
Hmm.
I'd rather be off camera as well.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a little dicey. I saw a video recently of these like lawyers, like three different lawyers just talking about a case or something, and they're probably in their 60s. And one guy had a filter on that he couldn't figure out how to get off. It was like a cat, but it was like picking up his mouth and
That was
eyes.
hilarious. Yeah.
And like no one, everybody's like confused. Nobody's really laughing. But
Yeah.
I was dying because he's like, I'm not a cat. I'm not a cat. And like just dead serious. And they're like, we know.
Yeah. Yeah. They also had that old man voice. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what's going on. My assistant's helping me trying to figure this out. They're like, Jerry, I think you've got
Jerry, we can hear you
we can
there.
hear you seem to be a cat. Rest assured, I'm
This is
not.
highly unprofessional, Jer. Highly unprofessional. This is the
Exactly.
30-minute window we have.
Yeah, I saw that. That was a cute little kitten too. That was hilarious, and
Yes.
the eyes just look so scared. It was so fitting. Yeah, man. Maybe COVID has been a great thing for us all.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So what's the latest trend on COVID? Are rates dropping? Are they getting higher?
Dude, I haven't
People
kept
getting
up with any of
vaccinated?
that. I just stopped. I just opted out. I'm done.
I am
Like
too.
legit, I have not kept up with any of the COVID numbers. I think I briefly saw a headline, but who knows by whom, talking of. Oh, I think maybe it was CNN. Oh, this kind of bothered me, although I didn't go through the entire interview. Okay, so I think it was CNN, but they were interviewing Dr. Fauci, and they were saying, the rates are going down, deaths are
Mm.
going down, all that great news. and that they're expecting that the
Herd
vaccination
immunity.
rate is going to increase to like I think I guess don't quote me on this, but like two could it be? Could it be 2 million a day across the country? I think they're at
Maybe.
1.5 million. I'm trying to see if that's reasonable. Uh, but they were hoping that everybody would get vaccinated, or anybody who wanted a vaccine would get one by July, something along those lines. So pretty great. But then, and this is where I cut off the interview because I didn't have time to go through the rest of it. But then Dr. Fetcher is also saying that we might have to wear masks into 2022. And dude, fuck that. I mean,
I'm totally with you.
I'm telling you,
This
I'm not.
guy,
I'm
this
not.
fucking guy.
Yeah, dude,
I'm done with
I
him.
am getting a
First of
degree
all,
in this stuff, and I'm saying fuck that. Like
yeah.
it's once you've got your vaccine, dude. Fuck the new strains. Like let
Seriously, we're not
everybody get
starting
it.
this shit over
No,
again. We're not.
no,
We're
no.
not. If you want to wear masks for the rest of your life, that's fine. You can do that. We're not
Even
going to
I will
stop
make
you.
fun of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, you can do it, but don't expect that everyone's going to do it because I tell you what, I'm just about done with it right now.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, I respect wearing masks like in a business, in a restaurant, in and like, at a small gathering,
yeah,
whatever it is. Like, if you got to wear one to go into the building, like I've never been a guy that's like, man, this sucks. Like, if I'm thinking it, whatever, but I would never put up a fight. But um, I don't know. Like I've mentioned on here before, just the people that really blow my mind are the people that wear them outside, like just by themselves, just walking, wearing a mask
yeah,
outside.
yeah.
It's
The
truly amazing.
the virus is
Just
just going to like escape their mouth and just like make a beeline for the person,
yeah,
like a
or
person like
just
5 miles away. Yeah,
yeah, because I'll just come up on someone, there's no one around them. They're just walking their dog or they're just walking by themselves
mm.
and just masked up outside. I don't understand that at all. And especially when I run by people, and they'll jump off the
Yeah,
trail.
yeah, oh
You're
yeah, yeah.
now
Still
16
do.
feet away. You're
Yeah.
covering your face. You've got you're double masking now for some
Oh
reason
yeah,
because
right.
Pete Buttigieg says to do it.
Oh, I didn't even
And
hear about that.
and it's comical. I mean, no one's ever been like, "How dare you run outside without a mask?"
Mm.
No one's actually said that to me, and I'm very glad that they haven't, for for everybody's sake. Because yeah, it's just very confusing to me. I get it, like I just wouldn't want to live that way. Of just like I get wearing a mask inside right now, but being outside, like just being out in the open and nature, and you're scared of other people outside, and you're wearing a mask, and all your kids with you have a mask on, like you're kind of a pussy, really. Yeah, I'm sorry, but you kind of are, and that's fine if you want to be that and just be extra protective of yourself. But I'm not
Mm.
going to live outside in fear for the rest of my life. And if you do, that's just sad. And it just makes me laugh, but it also makes me sad that people would do that. And that's my tirade.
That was a good one. That was a good one. The one advantage to wearing a mask outside that I've noticed is that
When
my
it's cold
face
out.
my face is warm. That's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Other than that, yeah, I just don't see a reason. I don't see any reason why a person would have to wear a mask if you're outside. It doesn't make any sense. But I've definitely run across those people that do kind of like get even further away from you and they're like staring at you like you're a goblin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and turning
Those
their
are
head or
good.
just
Yeah.
not making people don't make eye contact
Yeah.
anymore. It's
Yeah.
just like All right.
Yeah.
I mean, say something, bud. I dare you.
Yeah.
Get the fire department involved on this one.
Yeah. So I agree with you though. Like I'm incredibly tired of the whole mask business, but also I just nothing from March from the very beginning. A lot of things didn't make any sense to me,
No.
and I still stand by that. It still bothers me, like how many of these different governances just made no sense this entire time. But you
I
know,
know.
and if they're saying, once everybody has a vaccine, that we're still going to have to wear masks into 2022, and they're predicting that everybody's going to, I mean, assuming with that prediction that everybody has their vaccine by July. And I know some people are going to say, well, there's immunocompromised people. Look, that's the case always.
Yeah.
Always. Doesn't matter. Like that could be the flu, that could be anything. There's going to be immunocompromised people. I get that. But, you have to think about the
And they know who
overall
they are.
population. Yeah, exactly. Like those are the individuals that need to take those steps for themselves. It's just like anything. Like you have to think about, okay, what is the best for the majority. And I understand, like, I'm talking from a situation of like, well, I don't have to worry about my health and all that stuff, and but damn, like
It's getting old.
it
Shit's getting old.
I just need a real reason. Like I need a reason. I can't.
Yeah.
This new strain does not get affected by the vaccine and kills people. Like that's a
Yeah.
reason.
At
But
a higher rate or whatever. Yeah.
something, because just getting vaccinated and then just like saying, oh, we still need to slow down this other strain. No, I disagree. Let it just
It didn't work
burn
last
through.
time.
Just let it burn through all of us.
I know. I mean, did wearing a mask for at this point, almost a year, how much did that actually decrease the amount of people who died as opposed to if we didn't wear masks?
I think it did make a difference, especially in March, April, May,
The
like that
earlier.
that first period when they were saying, just 2 weeks, everybody just stay indoors for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think that made a difference. But
Yeah.
like it,
But now that
I
we have a vaccine,
yeah,
it's
you
like,
can still spread it. Just to be clear, like if you have a vaccine, that does not mean you can't spread it. The only thing, the literal only thing the vaccine does is basically guarantee you will not die. That's what it does.
from
So
COVID.
from COVID, yes, and well, maybe immortality, but but
So that they don't tell you.
we'll see. We'll see about that. No, yeah. So you're essentially guaranteed that you will not die from COVID, and at that point, that's really the only thing I care about. If people aren't going to die and they're not going to have like super severe side effects either, which is great.
Mm-mm.
So you're not going to get, you're not going to be in the hospital for 3 weeks or whatever it might be. Then what are we taught? What are we doing? Like, I mean, at this point, like,
Yeah.
just get
If it's a
get this ball
vaccine
rolling.
that's approved, that works, if everybody's got it by July, who's going to get it,
Hmm.
then we're rocking on July the 4th. I'm telling you what, we're going to we're getting drunk.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, it's just getting to the point where it's like, all right, like we know what's happening. We know what has happened, and we're not going to go through this shit again. Like,
We're not
you're not.
gonna take it.
Yeah, pretty
No,
much.
we're not gonna
I mean,
take it.
it just feels like people want to, it's just like, cases are going down, but
Yep.
potentially this
Always.
new thing. And it's just like, oh, let me click on this to get your ratings up for this whatever news outlet. And like Dr. Fauci, let me still remain relevant and on top of the, you know, CDC world of just like exposure.
Mm.
Because like if I'm saying everything's cool, like we're good, like you don't need me anymore. And now that I got this rush of power, this rush of exposure and TV time, I don't know. I mean, I'm kidding on that partly, but it's just like you just kind of wonder, at what point people are going to be like, all right, we're going to be way more careful going forward, I guess. And we now know steps to prevent certain things, and everybody's, able to come up with a better hygiene plan for themselves and their family, whatever that means. But
I don't think any of this stuff matters,
no,
dude.
it doesn't
Like
matter. It never
when it's
matters.
something that's airborne, fuck everything. Like everybody's gonna
Yeah.
get it. Like that's the bottom line. It doesn't matter how good your hygiene is or like how the it just nothing. I mean, of course, the mask helps a lot, but like if we have another situation, if we have another pandemic, it's going to blow through the population just like every other pandemic has, you know?
Hmm.
It's just, that's why I just don't understand this idea of like, oh, well,
Shut everything down.
there's hope, but also make sure that you're aware of all these negative things, and this might affect us into
Yeah.
a new doctor says
2030.
2025, like
Yeah,
something like that.
2030 is a date where, we can not wear masks.
Yeah, exactly. It's just no, no. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, the moment like a few weeks after I get my vaccine, I mean, I'm still gonna wear my mask and whatnot until like they say that you don't have to, like mandatory. But
Hmm.
I mean, beyond that, like dude,
Yeah. People just need to really chill out with it. Seriously, chill.
just chill, dude.
Chill. Seriously, chill. God. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to come off as like an anti-masker or like a anti-COVID conspiracy person at all. It's
Mm.
just it's just like, all right, like let's just move on to so that like we can actually have some like normal life again and not be consumed with COVID and like that dictating everyone's every move.
Yeah, especially when it doesn't make any sense anymore. That's the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the only thing that I just need things to make sense. If the science is clear that COVID is killing people, like tons of people, obviously it still is, but like, in a few months' time, when 200 million or 300 million people have been vaccinated, like that's okay,
Yeah.
we're done.
And I don't want to hear it from CNN or BBC or the New York Times. I don't want to hear it from news. I want to hear it from, a scientific study or an actual person in the industry,
All I
you
need to
know.
know, again, the one thing I need to know is it going to kill me? That's
Yeah,
it. That's all I need to. Oh, and is it going to kill other people? Of course, that's the
right.
the only barometer for me.
Is it a
So
murderous disease?
yeah, exactly. So, and my understanding is that this vaccine, no matter what strain you look at, it offers some protection. That's all I care about. I don't care if it gives me 100% protection. I don't care if it gives me 50% protection. As long as it stops me from ending my life and
Yeah.
other people ending their lives, I'm good. I don't even care if I get pretty sick from it, like the flu,
Yeah.
like where
Yeah.
you have a fever and you're like out of commission for a week. Like I'll take that risk, and I think that's literally lowering COVID down to flu levels, and then at this point, then like, what are we doing anymore? Are we
Yeah.
just
We
going to
don't shut the
continue
country
wearing?
down for the flu.
Yeah, exactly.
So what the hell? Like, yeah, we gotta cancel COVID. Hashtag
There you
COVID
go.
is
Cancel
canceled.
COVID. Should add that to our Instagram.
Yeah.
Cancel COVID.
COVID is canceled. Speaking of being canceled,
Ooh.
Chris D'Elia is back.
Ah, I saw a little bit of that.
Well,
That snippet.
he made he made a video. Well, I don't know necessarily that he's back, but he uh, he came out publicly for the first time
From the private.
from the privacy of his own home to make a statement about
Sex.
what sex, yep, what had been said against him by numerous women of the night.
Mm.
And yeah, he basically came out and said, like, everything I ever did was consensual with everybody. Doesn't mean that it was, I wasn't taking advantage of my situation of being famous
Sure.
and what that entails. And he also said that he realized in this time of um, hardship and cancellation that he has a sex addiction, aka he is a guy. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, but he does have a sex addiction, and that he's been working on it, and he's going to continue to work on it. And he didn't say anything about, you know, plans on this or that or coming back or podcasting again. He just wanted to compose his thoughts and make a statement on what he's been through.
What was your reaction?
I mean, it felt like it was a genuine thing. I mean, yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of courage to come out and really like talk about um, yourself in such a deep and introspective way in front of millions of people, and like kind of tell them all your bad secrets and what you've been struggling with and how you're trying to fix whatever problems you have as an individual. It's really nobody's business, but it's something that he felt like compelled to do, because otherwise people are going to continue to start rumors and say things that might not be true about him. So I get it in that regard. It just sucks it's like, yeah, now everybody knows like your secret kind of thing. Not that it's like a secret, but you know, your weakness, I guess.
Yeah.
And like definitely applaud him for like um taking responsibility of the situation and explaining in fuller detail of what happened. So I definitely can't fault him for that. Um, Russell Brand is another guy who has like been really public about his sex addiction and how that kind of ruined a lot of things for him and a lot of people in his life at the time. So yeah, I mean, it's a real thing, and I just hope he's able to find an avenue to get better and come back, because he's certainly an extremely entertaining podcast person.
I'm trying to find out the allegations that were made against him. I mean, from what I saw, I just saw snippets of his like discussion of like, oh, I feel like I know he said that everything was consensual. Um, Crystalia accused of flashing multiple women. Public masturbation. Don't know about that. Don't know if that was consensual.
Yeah, I think
Um,
he came out and denied those things as well.
oh, okay.
I mean, the thing is, we'll never really know. I mean, you just have to take his word for it.
Yeah, and that's I think that's ultimately the most important part. I think that regardless of your gender, it doesn't. You need to have proof. That's
Mm-hmm.
what it comes down to. Uh, and I'm definitely not on board with the movement of believe all women. I
Yeah.
realize that's probably controversial
I
for
mean,
a
he
lot of
released
people.
all like so many girls came out with snippets of conversations from, DMs
Mm-hmm.
between him and them. And then he later released like the totality of that conversation, like online. And then it becomes like, oh, okay, well, you were badgering him to, you know, come up to your room or have sex with him and asking him where he was and what's he
Yeah.
doing tonight, things
Yeah.
like that. And I mean, he acknowledges like, you know, being a celebrity that can add pressure on, someone who isn't. It's just like starstruck and like, I guess I'll, hang out with you and things can get misconstrued. And so, yeah, he was like, even though it was consensual, like, doesn't mean that I'm like innocent completely of, maybe taking advantage of my position in a way, in a sexual way, if that makes any sense.
I'm trying to think of a situation where, like, other than like physically
Which I
or
I don't know.
emotionally
I'm trying to.
pressuring someone. Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
Yeah, I don't know, because if it was consensual, because he does a much better job of explaining it. Because when he started talking about it, I was like, yeah, but if it's consensual throughout, like, how is it? How are you still guilty of something? But he kind
I,
of breaks it down.
he
I don't
cheated
know.
though, didn't he? I'm pretty sure he
Yes, I
cheated.
think
So
that's
that
the
was
big.
one
Yeah.
part that he was definitely in the wrong.
Well, yeah, he was. He said he had cheated basically on every girl he had ever been in a relationship with, up to like his current fiance when
Hmm.
they had their son, or when she was pregnant too.
Yeah, that's
So that's not good.
no.
But to come out and say that without people knowing, is just another thing where you're like, not, you don't have to applaud him for that, but it's just, it definitely takes guts to come out and say that and admit, such an egregious wrongdoing. And like, billions could see this.
Yeah, I don't. I guess to. Yeah, I don't know. In those
It just
situations,
seems
it's
like a
hard.
problem that should have been worked out internally with himself and the people around him, but because he's famous, it got blown up and now he's canceled and everything was ruined.
All of my is direct quote. All of my relationships have been both legal and consensual, and I've never met or exchanged any inappropriate photos with people who have tweeted about me. That being said, I am truly sorry. I was a dumb guy who absolutely let myself get caught up in my lifestyle. That's my fault. I own it. I've been reflecting on this for some time now, and I promise I will continue to do better. I just, like, to me, I need to understand, like, what exactly he did other than obviously cheat. But I mean, if he cheated, then that's between him and his
Right.
fiance or his ex-girlfriends or,
Yeah.
whatever it might be. If he didn't expose himself, then I mean that's a non-issue. And if he was in a position, like, I don't know, I mean, I'm sure people would disagree, but I just don't see how if you become famous suddenly you're responsible to you have an added responsibility to take care of other people's potential reactions to hanging out with them or sleeping with them or whatever it might be. But again, like, I don't know all the details. Like, maybe he did do stuff that was screwed up. Um, from what I understood, he was texting or DMing like tons of women, just like almost shotgunning, and then they would just like respond back, and then he would just like go, meet up with
Hmm.
whomever. Uh, I mean, is it? I mean, it's tough. I don't know. I always believe in being completely honest when it comes to when you're engaging any sort of like dating or sex or whatever it might be. So if he wasn't honest in some way, yeah, I mean that's deceitful and that's something he should apologize for. And I don't give him any credit for creating that video. Um, it, hopefully he learns from his mistakes. But again, like I just don't know what those mistakes were. It's just like,
It's all personal shit. And then
yeah,
like I feel like the people that canceled him, like Netflix and whatever else, because he
yeah,
was
that
going to have a
bothered.
show and all
Mm,
that. Um, they're the ones that are going to miss out in the long run because he's a guy that just generates millions and millions of followers and subscriptions and things like that. I mean, I know it's not all about money, and you definitely want to have people that you want to support and sign people who set a good example if you can in society. But I think sometimes you have to realize like Joe Rogan talks about this a lot, where especially in comedy, it's like nobody's perfect, and especially comedians are not perfect. Like
yeah,
the best comedians have a pretty twisted dark side to them if you want to like dig deep and look at it.
right.
Um, and you're not going to get creativity to that level, and you're not going to get um, just hilarious, original, unique content without being a multifaceted individual. In general, it doesn't mean you have to be like a heroin user and like crazy out there something, but you got to have a little bit of character to your life in order to be interesting. And everybody wants to be so cookie cutter and like you have to be this way, this way, this way. Well, you're not going to get any originality, and you're not going to get any entertaining content um, if you expect everybody to think and behave this exact same way, or else you'll be canceled or thrown into this category of someone who doesn't comply and can't be trusted or whatever. So I'm not in any way like advocating his behavior on any level, and I'm not saying that he couldn't have been as funny if he didn't do all those things, but they are lived experiences and they do contribute to his life story and therefore his creativity. But could he have been just as funny without, cheating and doing all? Of course, but nobody's perfect, and like you can't be a double standard of cancel this guy for people just who we don't know accusing him of showing, flashing himself or whatever it was. But don't cancel, Mike Tyson for beating up his ex-wife and going to jail for it, in the 90s. Like now he's just like a god. He's celebrated and all this stuff. And I'm not saying cancel him at all. Like I think he's an incredibly interesting person too now. But it's just like, it's just a weird, like, you get canceled, but you don't, even though you did something exactly the same. And maybe even more so. I mean, Chris D'Elia, what he did, every single like rock musician in the 80s did that times a billion and just never got caught because there's no social media back then. I mean,
Yeah,
Tommy Lee even admitted it. He's just like, if it was like this in the 80s, like you wouldn't know me today because I would have been canceled long ago. But you just live and you hopefully learn from those mistakes, obviously, and it's just a complicated situation.
yeah, it is. Again, I think it very much depends on like what exactly happened. Obviously, if he pressured people or if he mis not miscommunicated, but was deceptive. I mean, those are things that obviously aren't acceptable, and he should suffer the repercussions from that, suffer some level of punishment from that. And because I do believe in fairness, like I think it's really important to hold men to a standard that when it comes to this stuff or when it comes to anything, like holding people in general, but like as guys, I think it's important to hold other men to that standard of like, hey, you fucked up and you should suffer in some way, not like trying to necessarily hurt them, but just to say like, hey, this is not okay, and there has to be some sort of payment for you screwing up. I mean, just kind of like what people look at jail time or some sort of like you need to improve on yourself, or whatever it might be. Like there's so many different examples, but the reason why I say that is because I've become a lot more vocal about kind of the hidden issues when it comes to actually like women, for example, getting away with some pretty terrible things. And I don't think that I can comfortably speak on uh, like bringing that stuff to light, because without being also staunchly against men that do really shitty things. So, um, I would definitely have to educate myself further on what exactly happened, and I'm probably not going to, because I just don't give a shit. But,
Well, we'll
um,
never know. I mean, that's the
yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah.
We
So
just will
there's
never
no
know.
way. There's only the
Yeah.
the allegations and then just what he
Yeah, it's
said.
just he said, she said.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah. So it's it's tough. Again, the only thing I care about is like fairness, but also having proof. You have to have proof.
hmm.
You can't just say stuff, because that happens. Like, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
a great example of this, like, I don't know if you've kept up with this. I've kept up with it a little bit, not that I'm a great expert in it, but like the Amber Heard situation with Johnny Depp.
Hmm.
That, I mean, from my understanding and from a lot of other people's understanding, like, it's it's pretty stunning. I mean, people thought that Johnny Depp was the one that was being abusive, and then it turned out that Amber Heard was the one that was being physically and emotionally abusive. And um, like she gets to keep all of her roles, and Johnny Depp gets canceled from everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like that's, but nobody talks about that. No one does.
No.
It's
No.
just because again, it's this, it's truly a double standard that nobody ever wants to discuss, because men have been in power and men deserve what they got. Like, it's, I don't know. I just can't. I can't stand that
There
attitude in
just needs to
general.
be
It
due
makes me pretty
process.
angry for sure. Yeah, but yeah, and that's why, like, because in situations where women like fuck up, I want to feel heard in those situations. So I need to hold other men to a standard of like, hey, you fucked up. Now you need to pay the price for it, because
Yeah.
if I defend you now, nobody's going to defend me, or nobody's going to be on my side when I'm trying to bring up another issue that's related to like women fucking up, or not that it's like men versus women, but I mean, we are different.
Yeah.
There's no denying that. And I mean, clearly men fuck up a lot. Um, I mean, fuck, look at like Harvey Weinstein, right? Um,
Yeah.
or
But yeah, this situation with him, like, if he was consistently cheating on people that he was with, even his fiance,
yeah,
um, I think, you know, being quote unquote canceled and having this spotlight shown on him, whatever was true, whatever wasn't true, and it probably helped him to really look at himself and say, like, wow, like I have really, despite whatever's true or not, gone so far over the edge. And in my mind, I thought I was like never going to get caught, or I wasn't doing anything bad, and I was just reaping the rewards of my success, and this is just how it is, like making excuses in your mind. But now you're able to kind of sit back and like just realize how many people you've negatively impacted in your own life, and then you're able to look at that and say, like, what is it inside of me that enabled me to do this so casually, and how can I prevent this mentality from ever taking grip of me again? So it causes people to definitely look deeper within and try to get help. And that's what you mentioned about being accountable and like holding other people accountable when they're doing something bad, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can certainly get murky waters like a what we were trying to tease out earlier. Like if you're famous and let's say uh, somebody wants to sleep with you, let's say he's 40. I'm looking at it right now. So he's 40. Let's say
Hmm.
you've got a guy who's 40 and let's say a 25-year-old woman wants to sleep with you. Like are you then obligated in that situation to take to think for her in that situation, be like, well, this would be, let's say you're single too, like there's no, like obviously a cheating thing, I think we both agree is completely fucked up. um, but if you're single in that situation, are you then responsible for that person's well-being? You have to think like, oh, I'm not going to sleep with this person because they may not know what they want, or they may be starstruck, or whatever it might
Hmm.
be. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Like I think that you should just look at each individual as literally that, an individual, and if they are of age and they seem like they're not drunk for obviously all the rape stuff, you yeah, I mean they're not on drugs, they're not drunk, all that stuff, like they're in sober mind and they're just a huge fan and they really want it, like that's what they want, they're
Yeah,
just crazy about it.
yeah,
um,
you gotta
then is it?
reciprocate.
Yeah, I mean, it does like raise that question for me. Like, should you then, like that's so much responsibility that you're putting on yourself for something that's not like societally defined. It's not like there's laws that are saying, oh, don't do that, but there are some taboos which there are, I guess, like they're not laws, they're not rules, but people get pretty like disgusted or mad. Like look at Leonardo DiCaprio, right? Like the dude's in his 40s, I want to say, at
Yeah, he's
least in his
almost
40s,
50.
almost 50, and he dates exclusively like women that are like 25 or younger or whatever.
Oh,
And
much younger, yeah.
yeah, and people like hate the dude for it. Again, it's like, is he thinking about that stuff? Like, does he have a moral responsibility to be thinking about that stuff? Like, again, to me, the only thing that matters is being as completely clear and honest
Yeah,
about your
up front
intentions
as
up
possible. Yeah,
front. Make sure that obviously the person isn't inebriated in some way. And if they choose to make that choice, then okay, done. Like it's two consenting adults. I don't get what the big hubbub is about, after
no, there
that.
shouldn't be. There shouldn't be. I think, you've never really, well, I've never really heard anything about Leonardo DiCaprio as far as like a Me Too situation.
No, but I've definitely seen many people be
Oh
angry.
yeah, people are like, "Oh yeah, what a weird," or
What a
what a,
player, what a,
yeah. And
piece
he's
of
like,
shit. Why
"Yeah."
don't why don't men
He's like,
date
"I've,"
women their own age, like, all that stuff, right?
and then he goes, "Because I don't have to, because I'm Leo DiCaprio and I can do basically whatever I want, within the rule, you know, rules of law." But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you know, that's just how he is, and he's just like, "Why would I? I don't want to speak for the man." Okay,
You're his
so
PR
I'm just gonna
agent.
stop it right now. I'm like getting into his mentality right now, and that's not a good thing. So I'm gonna stop. Like it's very similar to like Derek Jeter when he was in the MLB.
I don't know
Um,
much about him.
well, he was a shortstop for the
I
Yankees.
got that much. He's a co-owner for the Marlins, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah, he's one of the greatest Yankees of all time, and that's a big deal in New York. And the whole time while he was a pro, he was never married, nothing, because he was like he just he just knew that, hey, I'm Derek Jeter, and basically it's that easy. And
Right.
now he's very happily married now to a woman 20 years
Jennifer.
younger.
Oh, wait,
And
wait. Is he really married to some? I
I,
thought he.
oh, I don't know how old she is, but she's certainly younger and most likely a Victoria's Secret model.
Oh yeah, I was getting it confused with someone else.
That's
Yeah.
A-Rod. A-Rod married
There we
J-Lo.
go. Thank you.
Yeah.
I,
But
I
A-Rod was the same way.
yeah.
He's him and Derek Jeter were.
I get my Red Sox my Red Sox players confused. Hannah Jeter
Hmm.
is 30 years old.
Ah, and how old is DJ?
46.
There you
And
go.
they got married 4 years ago, so she was 26. Because I can do math.
Yeah.
Um, well, roughly 4 years ago. So yeah, she was 26 and he was 42. Yeah, I mean there's a lot of examples like that, and I don't know. I mean, people get really pissed off about that, but there's nothing to be done. Like there's legitimately
No,
nothing to be
it's
done.
legal.
Yeah,
It's
it's
legal. Clearly, they haven't done anything egregious, and all parties are happy because they get to go on a yacht in a private island with Leonardo DiCaprio and drink champagne and whatnot. I mean, it's probably a good time.
I'm sure
But
it is. Yeah.
but yeah, it's just
So he was dating a lot of women, or maybe not even dating, just having his way while he was
yes,
a
yeah,
Boston Red
baseball
Sox.
player, yeah, a Yankee,
Yeah, or
and
one of those. They're all the same.
yeah. And Ricky Gervais actually did a joke when he hosted the Golden Globes. I think his most recent time, where he was like, The Irishman, it's a great film, great actors in that, Martin Scorsese, director, but you know, it's like 3.5 hours long, and in the premiere, Leonardo DiCaprio went in with his date, and by the end of it, she was too old for him. So, and he was there in the room, and he
That
was
was
like
good.
laughing about it. He's like, "Yeah, it's true."
You know that what kind of blows my mind about that is that these women know that he has this trend of dating women that are like a certain age, and it really does seem like they just break up after the women hit a certain age. I mean, it just seems that way from the optics. So like
Yeah.
as a woman dating him, like aren't they ever thinking like this is definitely going to be a short-term thing, as in like a year or two or whatever it might be, and then
I'm
like I'm
sure.
guaranteed to be like out the door afterwards. It's such a strange, but these women still sign up for it, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They get to go on a red carpet, go on a yacht,
Yeah. Yeah, he's
go to
46.
Moscow.
6 feet tall, so he's hit the magic number that
Yep.
that people seem to, or women seem to care about. Yeah, I've asked. I think I've probably asked about 50 different women, what's the deal with the height thing? It's
Do you get a general consensus, or do they just say it's an innate feeling inside of me?
oh
I just don't want to
some
be.
of them just don't offer really much an answer. Some people, they just say I don't know, and then others say they like to wear heels. That's the second level of like really
Mm.
generic answers. And some of them like are like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like a bi. Some of them have actually kind of gone into the evolutionary biology, what they thought might be happening. So I thought like
Hey, there you
just
go.
bigger guys, tall
Now
wise.
you're 6'6", correct?
Yeah.
Now, what if a woman was 6'6"?
I know. I thought about that. I thought about that once. I've never
Well, you
dated.
probably will never meet a woman 6'6", but
No.
let's just say you do, and
Yeah,
she.
I've thought about that actually relatively recently. I thought about that exact question. Like, would I be interested in a woman who's 6'6"? I think I would. In a woman who's 6'6", but maybe not like 6'8". I could maybe do 6'7",
Hmm.
but I don't know. It really depends. I mean, obviously, it very much depends on like how attractive a person is. So like like 1A I have never seen, or maybe
Yeah.
I shouldn't say never seen, but like maybe I've seen like one or two women that are like my height, maybe a little bit taller, and I just wasn't attracted to them. So it wasn't, it
Mm-hmm.
never really was an issue. But yeah, yeah, that would be tough. And I think there is a part, I suppose there is a part, if I were to answer that question, let's say like I did meet a person who was 6'6" or 6'7". Um, I think there is a dominance factor about it. Like you, as at least for me, I want to be the dominant guy. Like I want to be the dominant presence. Um, I
And then
believe in
she's
equality and
protecting
all
you in
that.
that case.
Yeah. Well, it's not necessarily that, but it's just like I like to
She
move.
holds the door for you in that
I,
scenario.
I'll just put I like to be the mover. I'll just put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, Leonardo DiCaprio was partners with Giselle at one point.
Oh.
That was, but that was 15
When
years
she
ago.
was like 20.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so was he, or
Oh.
maybe in his 30s. Um, and then Bar Raffaele, I don't know who that is, but they dated. Oh, she was in her 20s too. Wow, they dated for 6 years.
Hmm.
I feel like E Magazine right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do find that stuff really interesting. And um, wasn't there another? Oh, George Clooney's another example. Like, wasn't married,
Yeah.
doing his own thing. Um, I don't know. It's I get that people get mad about it, but that's just the reality. Like,
Yeah. He
uh,
can do that and not worry about
oh,
whatever a normal person would worry about if they're single and they're 45,
I could go on
It's
some
like,
tangents. Trust me, I could go on some tangents. Just the some of the cognitive dissonance between how women talk about what they want and what society deems acceptable. Some of those things don't mesh very well, and people don't really discuss that very much. We all agree like equality is important. It's critical. Like I'm totally on board. But then, and again, I legitimately ask. I've asked a lot of women these different questions because I'm fascinated by that. Like I genuinely am fascinated. I realize that they're going to be biased in certain situations, but still, even so, like it's really fascinating to me to hear. I mean, not universally, but in a lot of cases, like women want to date a really dominant guy, a guy who just kind of takes charge in a situation. But on the other hand, they also want like equality. So like in my brain, I'm thinking, okay, well, do you want me to ask you before I do like things for us as a couple? Like if it, I'm talking like small stuff. I'm not talking like big stuff. I'm not talking like let's make these life decisions. I mean, obviously that needs to be a conversation, but I'm talking like uh, crossing the street. I've been in situations where that has been an issue. Just like, do I need to consult, or do I just like lead and just go and like take you with me?
I take the lady's hand.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it is, and it's funny because like I found that women often just say like, "Oh yeah, equality, all this stuff," but on the other hand, they still want this guy to just kind of take charge. And if the guy doesn't, that's unattractive. So what do you do? I mean, because
Yeah.
I can't ask you then in that situation because then that's me being indecisive.
Yeah.
And it's just,
Being a bitch.
it's yeah, being a bitch. It's just weird. And there's a lot of these different types of like
Double.
minute examples of of these situations where if I were alone, I'd just totally be just going forward and I would know exactly what to do. But I'm also like trying to make sure that I'm considerate because I'm with someone else and I'm trying to be understanding and trying to say, oh, well, um, you know, what do you want to do? And it's like, that's such bullshit. I mean, it's
Yeah.
total bullshit. Like, what do you want to do? I mean, because I know how that conversation is going to go and I understand how much of a circular discussion that is. And on top of that, I also understand how unattractive it is.
Yeah.
And yet, it's technically what I'm supposed to do. By the book, by the societal book, that's how I'm supposed to handle it. Um,
Yep. What's
so
your portfolio look like? Where do you bank at?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I could definitely talk. I mean, I'm not even scratching the surface of the number of things that I've like talked about and thought about in that realm. And yeah, I've definitely considered for myself, kind of in the big picture, like this idea of like marriage and kids and like settling down and all this stuff. And I'm not going to put you on the spot, but for me, I've definitely considered like I tend to be much happier when I'm alone, when I'm
Hmm.
single, um,
Hmm.
because I don't like the responsibility that comes with relationships. Or so far, I've yet to meet a woman that will accept me as I've stated at the beginning. Like, because again, I try to be pretty open and honest about what I want, and I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, look, um, I don't want to do the whole like texting every like constantly. I don't want to do the calling even every day or every couple, like I just want this to be two independent people living their lives and we like come together and obviously we support one another and having healthy communication that's meaningful. That's the
Hmm.
important part because I can't do the like how was your
Pointless
day?
stuff.
I
Yeah.
don't fucking care. I don't care. And I will care if you've had a bad day, or on the flip side, if you've had a great day and you want to tell me about it, I'm in, like I'm focused. I will not look at my phone. I will be just dedicated. But I'm not doing it just to like have a conversation, just because I got other shit I got to do. So, I mean, it's that kind of stuff, and it's a lot more minimalistic and I have yet to find someone who actually complements that lifestyle as opposed to people that agree to it initially. I've had this
Hmm.
happen a lot where they agree to it initially and then they start chipping away and they're like, well, yeah, but like, what about this? And it's like a few months in and you're like, ah, shit, here we go.
Hmm.
Here we go. This now the reality's
It
setting in.
ramps up.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so big picture, I've just been thinking a lot about like being single and whatnot, and um, you know, not that I'm Leonardo DiCaprio or Derek Jeter from the Phillies, but like I
Yeah.
still I still like understand that relationships take a lot of work. They take time. They take effort. They obviously bring something that is just invaluable, that's really powerful and that's really fantastic. But um, they also bring with them a lot of like I love the idea of just being responsible for me and
Hmm.
not having
Yeah.
to worry about all these other things. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, um, speaking of which, I wanted to ask you about this. Uh, there's this book that I'm going through called Mating in Captivity by Esther Perel. Have you ever heard of her?
No.
Okay, so it's this concept is based around. So the book is based around, um, can people in relationships still keep the flame alive, the passion, the excitement of their relationship,
Hmm.
while also reaping the benefit of the comfort. And it's a really fantastic book. I'm only about a third of the way through, but so far I've man, she's just nailed so many great points. But they're at opposite ends because if you have the let's say passion versus security, let's just go with those two kind of as the two extremes. You have passion where like that's the first bit of dating. Like you're like, damn, she's fine, and like you're like you're getting all excited. You have like this bubbly feeling, and you have like this game. You just feel electric around this person. And then obviously over time, as you get to know them more, you feel more and more into the security aspect. And one of the beautiful things about that, of course, is that you can potentially fall in love with that person and feel like you're building something with that person. But unfortunately, that tends to come, and according to her, and what I found again, just from my personal experience as well, and I would imagine this is probably true, is that that passion side starts to wane. It starts to fall apart because you feel so comfortable. There's no excitement. You already know the person's schedule. You know what they do. You know their hobbies. You know all this different stuff. So there's no sense of friction there. And I'm not talking about friction as in like we're going to start a fight, but those tend to be in a sickening way. Those are like the most exciting moments of a relationship when, let's say a year and a half in, 2 years in, 10 years in, whatever, like when you have a fight, you have this like, I need to resolve this as quickly as possible. And that's that friction that I'm talking about. And it's a negative version of that friction, but with passion, when you're first dating that person, like you have friction, but it's more so like, do they like me? Am I attractive enough? Did I say the right thing? Like, these kinds of things, because you don't know anything about this person. And as things become more comfortable, the passion dies down over time. So what she's trying to do in this book is figure out, like, is there a way to still be passionate and still hold on to and still build into this idea of feeling secure? And I think she does a really great job of kind of separating the two and
Go ahead.
well, and just offering a few potential solutions based on some of the individual people that and individual couples that she counsels, or that she has counseled in the past. So it's a great book. I honestly absolutely recommend it. I'm only a third of the way through, but it truly it's a really interesting question, and it's something that I've grappled with in my past relationships. Because it's something that makes me think, like, when it comes to like something like marriage, I don't want to be in this situation where it's just secure. I do want to feel this spark. And I don't think that date night is going to do it. I think it has to come from like, you have time completely apart from one another where you can actually miss each other and actually feel like you haven't seen them in 7 days or 2 weeks or whatever, and then you see them and you're like, oh man, I can't, can't wait to see them. You feel that excitement.
Hold your hand
aggressively. But may I, because I'm a dominant man, but still trying to be polite.
May I hold your hand in public? Wow. Well, does she offer, I mean, you kind of said, but does she have an opinion herself, or is she trying to provide ways in which people, can go about capturing that and maintaining it? Or is it more just like examples and stuff?
So far, it's been examples. So far, it's been like, there's this couple, and then she offers like all real world examples of who she's counseled. And she's like, in certain situations, people have been so comfortable with one another. They've been, let's say, married for 20 years or whatever, 15 years, whatever it might be. And she points out, I remember this one example of this one woman that was like, I love my husband, but I don't want to sleep with him. Like I don't like feel that drive. And every once in a while, when he's presenting or he's at his job, at his work, or we go to a work function where the environment is a little bit different, and I see him in a certain light, suddenly I'm really attracted to him. And I don't blame that woman for thinking that. Like I somewhat understand where that comes from. Like if you wake up and you're just constantly you wake up, you see the person, you see them in the most unflattering versions of themselves. So it's understandable that you wouldn't feel like, oh, I can't wait to sleep with that person or to be passionate around that person. So what for one of the examples, apparently Esther Perel mentioned that she actually told the people to move out. So one person actually moved out of their house for like X amount of time, like not indefinitely or anything, but for X amount of time. And it really helped. Like they were only allowed to see each other like once a week or something like that. And it apparently really helped like re-spark that passion that they had for one another. So that's just one example. But like I said, I'm only a third of the way through. But yeah, it's essentially just trying to create a little bit of that friction. And I understand that some people sometimes artificially create that friction by picking fights. I think
BS.
it's a pain in the ass, and no, like that's never the answer in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, if you can try and create ways of, it's almost like the concept of delayed gratification. I think that's the way I think about it. Like if you can actually create this distance of like, hey, not necessarily just physical distance, but some level of like, I always see this person. So if we end up artificially creating this situation where we can't see each other as much, that can really offer a greater appreciation and passion for your significant other. How to do that exactly is really difficult. I mean, obviously, it's going to be based on personal circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll definitely update you as I
Yeah,
get further into the book.
that's something that, everybody in a relationship, no matter how young or old, has or will experience. Um, so definitely relevant to most people. So I would definitely be interested in how it ends.
Yeah, yeah. She ends up saying it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Sure hope not. Yeah.
It's just a picture of Ashton Kutcher at the end. Well, I am reading Moonraker by Sir Ian Fleming. It is the author of the James Bond series.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes.
So you're a
So far
misogynist,
that's
you
good.
piece of
Well,
shit.
no, I'm learning about misogyny throughout history, and I'm writing a book right now
Okay.
to highlight these people and cancel the dead. That's what
Okay.
my goal is: to cancel the
Well, Sean
hashtag
Connery
cancel the
better be
dead.
at the top of that list.
Oh yeah, his day's coming. His judgment on earth is coming. We're gonna have a court at his grave,
Okay.
but no, it's. I'm very, it's very early on in the book, but very good so far, and I could see myself like getting more books from him or more of the James Bond, like Tomorrow Never Dies and stuff
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Have you
But it's
seen
like set in the 50s, like right after World War II, kind of is the era that James Bond really should be in.
hmm. Have you seen all the movies?
I've seen a good amount. I really haven't seen a lot of the old ones, honestly.
Really? Oh man.
Yeah.
I've seen all of them multiple times through. I mean, there's like, I don't know, like 20 of them. They're
Oh, there's
they're
so
so
many.
good.
Yeah.
They're so good, especially the older ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should.
And now I'm definitely, when I finish Moonraker, I'm definitely going to watch that one. I don't know who was Bond in that, but I think it was Sean Connery. I could be wrong.
Could be, or Sir Roger Moore.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was. Yeah, that'd be great. So what
Yeah.
made you decide to pick up Moonraker?
Well, just looking through my bookshelf, my massive bookshelf, and found that in there. And I was like, "Where's this? Where did this come from?"
Yeah.
I'd never read it before, and it's like, it's a sweet cover on it. It's like a 1980 edition.
Hmm.
Um,
That's cool.
yeah, and I was like, yeah, might as well. I read three David Sedaris books in 3 weeks, and I'm like, maybe need to give him a break for a second and move on to like a fiction because I never really read fiction.
Yeah, yeah, I don't either, except for Aldous Huxley's
Brave
Brave
New
New World,
World
which I did
and
not
Harry
like.
Potter.
Yeah, well, and Harry Potter. Yeah, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Inkheart, and
Star
someone
Trek.
with the dragon. I did watch Star Trek. I did watch Star Trek.
James and the Giant Peach, you read.
La vache et le lait.
Astérix et Obélix. Tintin.
Hey, I do have all the Tintin books. I did
Yeah,
read
they're
those
great.
many
They're
times.
great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm I think like you, I don't usually tend towards fiction. Um, I also have a book that I don't publicly tell people about very much. That I'm not going to say on air because it is truly like a kind of a kept secret, but it has changed my life. Um,
Whoa.
and yeah, maybe I'll tell
Why
you. I'll
wouldn't you
tell you.
share why
I'll tell
wouldn't you
you off
share
air.
this with the viewers?
Nope. I'm telling you, it's a book that would I would get a lot of backlash for, and but it's
Hmm.
highly impactful for certain individuals. I'll just leave it at that. Just put the intrigue out there for those people that have gotten 1 hour and 10 minutes into our podcast. But I will not be
May I have a
ever.
guess?
No, no,
Okay, I can't even wager a guess.
no. Can't. I would not confirm nor deny. I doubt you
Okay.
would. You'd be able to guess it. Um, and then
Well, it's the Bible, I know.
you got me there. Yeah, there's Mating in Captivity. Oh, I picked up The Strange Death of Europe, which you told me about.
Oh,
Douglas
heck
Murray.
yeah.
That was I haven't gotten very far into it. Um, it's pretty dense. It's pretty dense. Like just talking about all kinds of statistics for the UK government and whatnot. Um, and some of the references, I'm just like, I don't get them because he's talking about the UK. But it's been pretty good so far. Oh, the one fiction is Sabriel that I went through. Have you ever heard of Sabriel?
Sounds familiar, but I don't really know
It's
what it
really good.
is.
It's excellently written. It's written better than Harry Potter. I'll put it that way. I'm not saying the story is necessarily better than Harry Potter, but the actual writing is definitely better.
Wow.
So, oh, here's a book that I'm sure they're both looking forward to is Jordan Peterson's new book.
I know. I was looking at it today, actually.
Do you know when that released? In March sometime?
Yeah. If you can pre-order it, I think on Amazon, and it'll get there early March, probably, is what it was saying. But I was like, I saw he did a podcast with this woman, Ayan Hirsi Ali, who was she was like raised in, I want to say, Ethiopia, born in an African nation that was predominantly Muslim and went through um, horrific abuse and female genital mutilation and all that stuff that goes on in certain places still. And
Hmm.
moved to the Netherlands, was able to get out and like become a refugee and go to the Netherlands, and became a really famous journalist and author on, you know, like extremist Islamic fundamentalist people and what that can do and how it's destroyed certain societies so she's kind of like a like Sam Harris used to be really big on that. Like he wrote books on that and would do talks on that all the time, and I'm sure he still is, but she was kind of like a contemporary with him on that front. And she's extremely intelligent and like just an incredible life story, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I saw that his podcast, Jordan Peterson, is back now, and he's been interviewing people. And I think he had Douglas Murray on a couple weeks ago, as his first guest since he's been back. And then I was like, oh yeah, when's his book coming out? And looked on Amazon, and like less than a month away. So I like looked at my copy of 12 Rules to Life, and I'm like, should I maybe read that again or try to read that before the second one?
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe.
I might do that too, actually. Book club.
Yay!
And then we
Yeah, I
can
probably should.
then we can read the Ya Sisterhood.
Yep. Well, I've already read it, but you can't read that book enough.
I know. That's right, girly.
Yeah, every time I see a cat on like just a random cat out in a parking lot or a street or something, I think about that book.
Which
I'm like,
one?
Jordan Peterson's, because that was like
Oh,
the
okay.
last rule was like always pet a cat, or like
Yeah.
or when you see one on the street or something.
Right.
And I'm like, it always stuck with me because I always do that. Like
Yeah.
I always am like, I try to get like the cat to come up to me, and
Yeah.
like a lot of times they just like sit there or run away, but sometimes they like walk over to you and just like
Yeah.
roll over.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's crazy. But
Yeah. And then you say, "Fancy seeing you here, Professor McGonagall."
but she died recently, so
Did she really?
rest in peace.
Damn, I didn't know that.
I think she was old.
We're gonna confirm this. Maggie Smith. Yeah.
Oh,
Um, I would like to correct Kyle. She is still
yeah.
alive.
Excuse me. Her character in Downton Abbey passed, and I got confused.
Yes, yeah. Well, she was in the Ya Sisterhood. I actually just watched that movie.
Oh,
Um, what again for the 19th time? The first Google query is Maggie Smith dying?
see, I'm not the only one.
Clearly, yeah. She.
Now, who plays Yaya in that movie?
I don't know who the fuck that is. They're all part of the Ya Sisterhood, but she's one of the
Yaya.
actresses. She's one of the Yayas, yeah.
Huh.
So, yeah.
Is the sequel to that the Traveling Sisterhood of the Traveling
Pants?
or
No, that's a completely different film.
that you've seen as well?
I'm watching it right now. I'm not joking. I'm not
No, you're
joking. No.
Why?
Dude, I don't know. I
Gone nuts.
No, I want to watch something light,
Okay,
and
I got you.
I'm interested.
Empowering for women.
Yeah, no, no joke. I'm trying to understand like why some of these movies became so popular. I mean, obviously for a lot of women, but I'm sure some men too. And Ya Sisterhood actually wasn't that bad. It was pretty decent. But Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, I can't take that one seriously because it's like 16-year-olds crying about their life.
Well, what about Mamma Mia?
I've not seen that. I've not seen that. But that's got musical in it, doesn't it?
Oh yeah,
I
think
can't
so.
do that. I can't do the whole musical thing
Musicals are tough, very
Yeah.
tough.
because I end up like skip. I do skip through some of the emotional stuff just because I'm like my brain's just
cry
like
too.
I don't care.
You'll break down as well.
Yeah.
What about Sex in the City movies?
I have not seen those. How many are there?
I feel like there's at least two.
Trick question.
Tried to
You knew
milk
the
that.
answer. Ha ha. Fool.
Wow.
Yeah, I know Samantha is one of them.
Yep.
I don't know the other one.
Carrie, I think, is another.
Carrie.
I don't know the third.
I don't either. I don't either. But I know those were pretty popular as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants 2. I'll have to, well, I don't know. I'll see, because I'm really not enjoying the first one very much. It truly is like 16-year-olds. Oh, actually, now that I think about it, in this movie, this college age dude is trying to hook up with like a 16-year-old, and this 17-year-old specifically said, "I'm 17," and she's trying to hook up with her camp counselor, who is definitely older than her. So,
Hey, I
cancel.
think it's your job to cancel that movie.
It is my job. I'm canceling the Sisterhood.
Thank you.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, I watched a movie, American
one.
Animals.
What
Not
is that?
a uplifting light movie. It will make you want to rob stuff, but it's a video, a
Okay.
true story about these college kids in Kentucky, and at their college library there was this really famous, massive, colored book of animals, like drawings of American animals, like that. This
Yeah.
guy in the 1800s went out in the wilderness, this artist, and just like observed animals in the wild and drew them like in these huge pages, brightly colored. Like, it's really amazing art, but it's on display at their library. And they're like, one kid's like giving a tour, and this guy, they're like, oh, this is like priceless. And then he finds out it's worth like $12 million, appraised. And they also had a book from Darwin, like one of his like diaries or something,
That's cool.
at
Yeah.
that college. And they decide to, and this is like 2003, and four guys get together and plan a heist of all this stuff. And they do it, but I don't want to ruin the end, but the actual people who are now like, probably close to 40, they are in the movie throughout. Like, it's done in a way where it'll just cut to like the real person and not the character playing that person.
Mm.
And he's just like, yeah, I mean, I remember being here and this, and he was like, yeah, we need to get more surveillance around this thing, and we need to go to Amsterdam to check this thing out. And it was crazy. It's a crazy movie. It's very good, but it's definitely like, it will get your adrenaline going, and you will definitely want to take part in a heist.
Really? Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I'll watch it and
very
then
good. It's not
we'll
lighthearted,
start.
though. It's not lighthearted.
Oh, that's okay. I'm not only looking for lighthearted.
Okay.
It depends. Depends on my mood. Depends how long my day's been.
Mm-hmm.
You know the
Well,
feeling.
I
You get tired.
always recommend Rick and Morty, no matter what mood you're in.
I have never seen Rick and Morty.
God,
Doesn't
I
it
think
only
you would
have like
like that.
3 seasons?
4 now.
4 seasons. Wow.
And
Yeah.
they're short. They're like, 20, 25-minute episodes, and just hilarious, brilliant. One of the best adult cartoons ever created. I would put South Park and then Rick and Morty right there.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll give that a shot.
It'll
Looking for
lighten the
things that
mood.
are light, quick, because I don't want to have a
Yep.
huge
Okay.
investment.
Easy. Rick and
And
Morty.
yeah, and I'm usually okay like starting an actual series, but right now, no.
But Rick and Morty, you don't have to do like each episode's
Sequential, right?
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Cool. Well, maybe I'll give that a shot.
Yep.
All right. Well, Mr. Hatley, shall we end it here?
I think so.
That was a good, solid recommendation at the end of our podcast for
Yeah.
all the people. I mean, we have 100% retention on our podcast, so I'm sure
Yeah,
everybody will
people
hear
are waiting
everything.
right now for our recommendations.
Yeah,
So Rick
exactly.
and Morty, expect those views to go through the
The
roof.
roof. Whoa. Feel sorry for your servers.
Yes. Yay.
All right, folks. Catch you next week.
Goodbye.